Don't bury the lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Friday night after the bell. My name is John Zindel. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
We are 8 days away from the Crown Jewel Premium Live event. We got a lot of a taste of what's going to happen at that pay-per-view and some extra bonus sections tonight with the main players in that pay-per-view. So without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from October 27th SmackDown?
Dom, on this show, we don't ever bury the lead. We jump right into the lead here. The main event, LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso. LA Knight goes over clean in a pretty good main event here. We're big fans of matches and the main event, and I think they slated enough time for the guys to go out and put on a pretty good performance. The crowd was really into it, and LA Knight stays red hot here. Dom, what did you think of this match?
They gave him 13 minutes, like you said. LA Knight hits that leap up to the top turnbuckle right into the superplex. Jimmy Uso's in perfect position for it. LA Knight then hits the blunt force trauma for the pinfall. There's about a minute left in the program at that point. Roman Reigns tries to ambush LA Knight. LA Knight sidesteps it, hits the blunt force trauma on Roman as the crowd is chanting LA Knight. The crowd was really into this show.
Yeah.
At least this main event. Like this main event, the crowd got into it. That was great to hear on TV. I thought even Jimmy was fantastic. Jimmy's kind of taking on some of a comedy role in the bloodline now. Like he's the lovable screw up, except he's not really that lovable.
Yeah.
And
he's showing some range a little bit for what he can do with his character, because he was just kind of like Jay, like a lot like Jay, but they were both just very fierce. Like felt like they both had been in prison before, kind of the same gimmick, but he's he's getting a little bit more comedy and like laid back, doughier like guy.
And it was great. I thought he played to the crowd well. Like these were two guys in the ring who understand they're not wrestling, in front of nothing.
Yeah.
They understand they're in a live arena. And it's great to see two guys who can wrestle, who are great athletes, and who understand they're at a live wrestling show.
Right.
So I was pleased with it. I did not write down a lot of notes for this match as far as spots go. I did like LA Knight going for the DDT right after the first commercial, getting a 2 count. The crowd was really into the trading strikes, whether they were punches or kicks. And they're chanting every time LA Knight hits a big shot on someone, bouncing Jimmy's head off of the announce table.
I was going to mention that spot. I love the head slam because it gets the crowd into it. It's simple enough and it's pretty unique.
Yes,
a unique way to get the crowd into it. So
it's the equivalent of counting, but they don't have to remember what number they're on.
Right. You don't have.
It's like, wait, was that 4 or 5? It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Right.
It's a variation of counting, There's a rhythm to it. The counting is cool because there's a rhythm to it. Well, the same thing with LA Knight doing the and the strikes. There's a rhythm to it. The crowd gets into it. I like Jimmy doing a Samoan drop for a 2 count, then hitting the top turn splash for a 2 count. So this wasn't one-sided match by any stretch. Another thing I'm noticing, and this is where WWE's TV production comes into play. They're roving cameras, they're mobile cameras around the ring that sometimes zoom in on people. LA Knight sells big spots well.
Yeah.
When he's the guy taking them, he doesn't just lie there like he's dead. He'll roll over and wince. You can see his facial expression. You could see him kind of writhe in pain and like buckle over. We noticed that a couple of weeks ago when Roman speared him to go off the air.
Right.
And instead of just lying there on his back like he was dead, you could see him like kind of on his side, curling up and wincing. That's a much better sell of the move.
Right.
Like going down for his ribs. Like, oh, he really hurt my rib. That's a much better sell of the move. So I like LA Knight selling other guys high impact spots.
It makes it more reasonable. It's such a simple thing that a lot of guys skim over and miss.
Hmm.
They're just trying to. They're kind of like getting to the next spot, or they're a little lost, and they kind of forget that aspect of like, yeah, sell. Selling's very important.
And selling is more than, oh, I hit the mat on my back and I just laid there until they tell me to get up.
Did a back
Like
bump.
that's bumping, but
Hmm.
selling is bumping plus.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it's bump with the little plus mark next to it. It's like
Mhm.
Google Plus or whatever. It's bumping plus. That's selling. LA Knight sells. Jimmy Uso sells as well. Like
Mhm.
these are two guys who, I mean, you for a main event, these were two guys who know how to wrestle, know how to do the psychology in the ring, and they were aware of the crowd around them. Now, if you don't have spots you want to go to, I'd like to do the SmackDown sandwich here because the opening segment was basically the precursor to this main event.
I like that. The SmackDown sandwich. That's a
The
good way.
SmackDown sandwich. We're going straight for the bread here. The main event and the opening segment were really, two halves of the coin here. Um, they did the contract signing at the beginning. Wasn't that a cool wrinkle?
Yeah.
Like, don't
No.
save the contract signing to the end and like screw the main event. No, do the contract signing right away, get people amped up, and then use the contract signing to set up something later in the show. I
Yeah.
like that. What did you think about they gave him a long segment. This contract signing went until 8:14. Show starts at 8 o'clock here in southern New Jersey. What did you think of this long opening segment?
I usually am to the contract signings. This one was really good.
Mhm.
You had some pretty deep cuts for people that are really into pro wrestling with the Suffer and Suff Attack reference by
Tell
L.A.
me what that is. I missed that. I heard him say it, but I didn't get the reference.
Roman Reigns once did a promo, and he was a babyface, and essentially, it. I can't do it any justice. I can't really. I can. The only way I can describe it is like it was very, very, as the kids call it, cringe. It was
Okay.
the cringiest promo where he starts to act like Daffy Duck and speak like Daffy Duck, and it was just and that didn't work.
Really?
And yes, and everybody freaked out about it. But
Folks, if you're watching us right now on the live stream, we won't be heard if you take a separate tab there and go searching for this on the interwebbies. If I wasn't doing a live stream right now, I might do the same.
I just saw two people drop, so that might be why.
Oh,
No, it was like I talking about it. I'm like, I can't.
come on back to us. Open a separate window, separate browser tab, and do that there. But stay with don't bury the lead here.
No, but
Okay, so thank you. I did not catch that reference.
so that reference is really cool. And the exchange between Roman Reigns and Roman is just in control on the mic now. It's like
He is.
unbelievable. He's very confident. He's letting everything come to him. He does all this simple stuff that he's shooting great promos. He doesn't really need Heyman as much. He doesn't. It's almost like he's just. I don't know. He's just really improved so much, and it always shocks me.
Mhm.
And ultimately, this was a good segment, and usually not a big fan of contract signing.
Let's talk about what was different in this segment because the segment does end with some physicality. Jimmy Uso jumping LA Knight from behind after Roman had thrown the table over. So we got the standard fare from this contract signing. The chairs and the table didn't last the entire segment.
Mhm.
Someone else ran in and there was a bit of a schmaz. But in between, some things that made this one different. Roman Reigns opens the show. Obviously, his music hits. He's standing there with Paul Heyman. They're milking the entrance. They're staying way at the top of the ramp. He's looking around. He's slowly raising the belt up. His theatrical music is hitting, and then L.A. Knight. LA Knight's music interrupts him. LA Knight comes out, walks right past Roman Reigns, doesn't even acknowledge him.
Mhm.
Walks right to the ring, gets in the ring, sits down in the champion's chair for the contract signing.
Right.
Sits right there like hey, first come, first serve. He got into the ring first, he gets the chair.
Right.
And Paul Heyman's trying to tell him, no, you can't do that. You're at the wrong. And then he tries to turn the table, literally turn the table, and
Mhm.
LA Knight's not letting him. Oh, what a cool power play.
Mhm.
And LA Knight very confidently signs the contract and then says, "Have at it, Chief." What a neat little dig at Tribal Chief. And then Roman Reigns, and I'm wondering, what is he doing? He goes, "Hey, idiot." Like, what? You're the top dog in the WWE, and your comeback is, "Hey, idiot."
Right.
But it got better, thankfully. The crowd chimes in with Roman's scared
Mhm. Oh, okay.
chants.
Mhm.
Oh, those were fun. But they're playing up how this is LA Knight's. Yeah, you ever been in a championship match? No. You ever main evented a pay per view? You ever been at a contract signing? No, no, no. And LA Knight just playing up. Hey, I'm the fastest rising star in SmackDown. A year ago, I've been here in just under a year.
Mhm.
Um, so what did you think of this contract signing? And did those things that we don't usually see from contract signings make it better or worse?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the times, the contract signing, the promos go way too long, which we saw a little bit of that tonight. But the
Mhm.
promos go a little too long. They're very derivative. Like they're always the same. They're pretty. I mean, it's just not derivative, but they're pretty formulatic. Like they go
Oh
out
yeah.
and there's a schmoz. That's kind of it. And like, why do they need to do the contract signing? That doesn't usually make any sense either. I know in pro wrestling, you got to let yourself just accept parts of it, but I don't know. It's kind of played out, but they did a great job with it. And I think, to kind of uh, get the other piece of the bread of the sandwich here, I think the main event was good too with the match. So
Yes.
LA Knight's really kind of carrying this SmackDown show. Uh, I'll go
He
ahead
he
and
did. He did. Now there's one thing I'm worried about in his promos. Um, I remember the Monday Night Wars when
Mhm,
suddenly Bill Goldberg caught fire in WCW.
right.
And the crowd was behind him and they loved him and they had to push him because the crowd was behind him. And how can you not? He draws viewers.
Hmm.
He sells, people want to watch him. The problem was it was too fast and they didn't develop his character. So Goldberg's character became he's undefeated.
Right.
He's this fast rising star. So now once he gets beaten, you're like, oh, well, what's left?
Yeah.
Nothing. You didn't develop anything. LA Knight's gimmick right now is that he's the fastest rising star in SmackDown. Okay, well, that's not something about him as a character. It's
Mhm.
not an attribute of him. It's a circumstance.
Sure.
You need a character trait, not a circumstance. The circumstance is that you've been rising very quickly in SmackDown,
Yeah.
but that's not an angle. That's just a circumstance. An angle comes from the wrestlers themselves and their characters. And I am concerned that they tried to do a little of this with The Miz, but then they dropped it and they just went to, I'm the fastest rising star in SmackDown.
Hmm.
Like, I think that's a step back from where he was in the program with The Miz, where he was getting interesting. He's got to get back to being interesting, not just, hey, I'm riding the wave. Okay, you're riding the wave, but why are you riding the wave and how are you going to keep up on that surfboard?
Yeah.
And not just topple over. I mean, Bully Ray of all people who would know this was on Busted Open Radio this week, and he was talking about this with Dave LaGreca.
Oh, you want to share my screen?
We
Or
could share the screen here.
Mhm.
They're on Busted Open Radio. Here's Bully Ray, and he's saying that he was talking about some of the same things. He didn't make. I didn't catch it. He didn't make the Goldberg comparison that I did, but he's making the same thing that you. It's got to be more than okay. He's a cool guy who dresses great. The charm and markability, the Timberland boots, the jeans, the polished look. But, get back into the backstory and his motivations. Like him being a fast rising star, that's a circumstance. But his character is things like backstory and motivation. We're not getting enough of that. He contrasts it with Cody Rhodes. Like people like Cody Rhodes now,
Mhm.
where Cody Rhodes is hot no matter what kind of program he's in, because they've built up Cody Rhodes' character, and you can say it was too campy with the I'm doing it for Dusty, and just rehashing what he had done 5 years earlier in the NWA.
Mhm.
But at least it was something, and it was something about his character. It wasn't tied to, well, this is the program I'm in and this is my opponent. It was tied to who Cody is. And I think that's a really good comparison. And LA Knight has the ability, and this was also Bully's point, is that LA Knight has this ability. They must capitalize on his potential. Like, he's got it. And Bully's worked with him in Impact. They were there briefly together. And so I like that other guys who have been in the business are recognizing that you have to do more than just, play the happy accident Bill Goldberg thing, because Goldberg could have been bigger, even bigger than he was, if they did more than just say, oh, nobody can beat the guy. So, that's what I wanted to share there. Is I think it ties into where we're going with Crown Jewel here, because we have to see something else from LA Knight in this main event. They're probably not going to switch the belt in Saudi Arabia on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
For the US audience. It's going to be 10 a.m. on the West Coast. When this thing starts. It's going to be barely the afternoon. They're not going to switch the belts, I don't think. That would be a real shocker. So something else has to happen in this match where Roman comes out of it looking strong, but LA Knight has something more than I'm the fastest rising star on SmackDown, because if you get beat in the main event of a pay-per-view, suddenly maybe you're not the fastest rising star on SmackDown anymore. Now what do you got?
I think it's a pretty good observation. Specifically because you definitely have seen people and they go over, and then now what do you do with them? There should be a little bit more storyline rather than just relying on his raw charisma on the mic and in the ring. But on the other token, as far as Goldberg was concerned, I think the other issue was, that's not great booking, but he wasn't a great wrestler, and he wasn't he was pretty bad. I mean, still to this day, I don't think he was ever really that good.
No.
But also, like, his gimmick was he was invincible. So then it's like, it was just.
So once he loses, there goes your gimmick.
It goes the gimmick.
If your gimmick is you never lose, then once you lose, there's your gimmick.
AEW has tried to do the Goldberg style gimmick with Jade Cargill, and it didn't work. And Wardlow is a big guy they have.
Okay.
They tried it with Wardlow, and after a while, they were literally chanting to Goldberg, Wardlow, like all that stuff. But eventually, it's like, all right, well, I mean, is he going to have competitive matches? And like, he did, but then it's like that first 25, 30, or 35 matches. It's just it's a goofball way to go about it. But
it is. Okay. Well, you mentioned Jade Cargill. We may get to her a little bit later in Cheap Heat, so stay tuned for that. Tell us in the comments if you're live. It's the live chat. If you're watching on a recording later, tell us in the comments. What do you think of the LA Knight push? Have they done enough to give him a character, or are they relying too much on simply the circumstance that he's the new guy he's the shiny new thing, and people are just into the shiny new thing? Tell us what you think.
For sure. We encourage the chatters to jump in and say whatever you'd like, but we're asking about LA Knight. But moving on here, so we did the lead. That's where we're talking about the main event and the main story, and it was all LA Knight tonight. And we're going to move on to our next segment, The Follow, where we talk about the rest of WWE Smackdown.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to move into The Follow. Dom, anything else you want to talk about that happened during this show?
Yes, we talk about a long promo at the beginning of the show, which did not feel that long. I think because it was well done. Just before the 9 o'clock hour, we get another long promo with John Cena and then eventually Paul Heyman. This one also lasts about 14 minutes. This one felt a little longer, though, because, John Cena's in there and he's almost like he's fishing for compliments. John Cena has suddenly become, the teenage girl on social media who says, like feeling ugly today, just so people go, "You're so pretty," in the comments and do the hearts and things. And this is John Cena. As long as he's been in the WWE, he's in there basically doing this. At some point they give him the "you still got it" chance, and Cena won't let it go. He goes, "But what if I don't?"
I thought it was a bit strange too. I do have to call it out because he's like, "You've never turned on me before, and I've always been with you, and we've always had this." I'm like, "What are you going on? What is he going on?"
First of all, no.
It's a joke.
Are we just going to gloss over the whole "Let's go Cena sucks" era?
Yeah. But I actually thought this was a good promo. The
Okay.
crowd was very responsive and into it.
Yes.
So that's all I really ask for is that the crowd is doing chants that mean that they're interested in this. And although, from our vantage point, it wasn't exactly Hard Times by Dusty Rhodes in there. Like he said he was doing today. It was still pretty good because the crowd was into it.
Paul Heyman comes in and he's doing the whole thing. John, you could have had a long career like me, sort of as a top talker.
Mm-hmm.
John, you could have been me until you pissed off the bloodline. And that leads up to the eventual Solo Sikoa ambush, gives him the side slam, then the Samoan spike, leaves John Cena lying in the ring. They're supposed to have a Crown Jewel match now. So this is another setup for Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel looks like it's going to be kind of a loaded premium live event. This is not going to be the 5-matcher that we just saw that got out of town, in 3 hours. This one, maybe because it's an afternoon start for the U.S. audience, maybe they're going to let it go. I'm counting maybe 6 or 7 at least matches at this point. So this may be a more loaded pay-per-view for the overseas crowd there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
But what do you think of adding this to the card?
That's good. I mean, as much of Solo Sikoa as I can see is great. And Cena is going to be a good hand in there, obviously, with him. Should be interesting to see. He could still definitely go. We talked about it in our previous videos here. It looks like, and I thought during the promo tonight he was almost teasing retirement, but because that's where I thought he was headed, and I almost was like, we were right. Because if he was going to announce his retirement, then we probably would have focused on that as the lead. But he's basically like, I'm going. It's basically like I'm done if I can't win. So of course, it sounds pretty predictable what will happen. But I like the promo tonight because Cena goes out there as just Captain America, like just a regular good guy that everybody likes. And he goes out and he shoots a promo, and he's so, I would say this, he's very clear in his speech, and he doesn't like fudge up his lines or anything like that. He's really confident and charismatic. Although the character, it is a little bit like, oh, he's like Superman, he's Captain America. He doesn't have that edge to him, and that's okay too.
Well, he hasn't been burying people. It's been 2,000 days since he won a singles match in a WWE ring, as he told us last week.
It's really
since he won a singles match. Apparently, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Is the bloodline as it's now constructed turning into too much of Imperium, where it's Gunther and his 2 lackeys that get sent out there to lose to people, predictably, and then Gunther does not lose? Is that what we're seeing with Jimmy? Yes. Is Solo falling into that now, where it's now Roman and the lackeys rather than really the bloodline?
It's a shame they're kind of, maybe they just need to get like a little bit of a personality shift from Jimmy because he's been doing a lot of the same thing. So I'm okay with him kind of falling off. I would do this sometimes as the Bonzo Street Bomber when I was just, I was starting to like drink too much, so I would come to the ring way too drunk and then like get pinned like for 3 matches in a row, and that was like a character change, right? Or
indie pro wrestling alert! Here we go.
And then like you get back on track once Diamond Earl Scruggs slaps you around. It's just get it together. And Diamond Earl Scruggs would be
Once you're impeccably dressed and wealthy manager.
from Las Vegas, Nevada.
There you go.
Yeah, but Solo Sikoa, on the other hand, should absolutely not be in that role. I think Solo Sikoa has an excellent future in front of him. I think he's a future champion, and I would not want to see him be anything besides a very good mid card. I wouldn't want to see him go lower than that. Losing to Cena, that's not that big of a deal, but I don't want to see him losing to, a lot of people out there. But I guess he did lose to LA Knight.
Lost to LA Knight. If he now loses to Cena, and this goes a little longer term, if Cena has the availability, do we run the risk of this becoming Roman Reigns and the lackeys rather than the very formidable bloodline?
Yeah, and maybe that's a arc they can build off of, though. Then they both lost. Roman is going to be furious at him. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. Slaps him around, and maybe they come back around. But usually,
maybe a lot to look forward to. So we're glad that this match gets added to Crown Jewel, and two-part question, and we're glad that they did this segment tonight. We like seeing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'll give it 2 yeses as well on those. It's going to be an interesting match, and I like that they maybe gave him a little too much time here, but I like that they're showing that it's going to be a tough haul for Cena if he wins it all, and Solo still looks like the hitman of the bloodline. Yeah.
For sure.
So where do you want to go? Let's talk match. What's your favorite match of the night besides the main event?
Well, kind of an interesting spread of matches tonight, I'll have to say. I liked. Well, the main really was the match of the night for me, and the other three I'd say two of the matches are a bit interchangeable, and then there was a Shotzi match. Maybe we could just go Escobar and Carlito versus Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Interesting because I haven't seen Carlito wrestle.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to let
what did you think of him here? He's not the maybe I'm jumping too early into a question here. Carlito is not really the small luchador like we see from the other people in the LWO.
No.
He's like he would be a classic heavyweight.
Yeah, so Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins go over in this match.
They do.
They come out with Bobby Lashley, and I think this is the first time I saw them come out with a new theme song, with a new look, and they're just like, yeah, we're serious now.
No red Solo cups. I made the same note.
They're heels through and through, and Escobar and Carlito come out, and as far as Carlito goes, I like his work because he's stiff as hell. So stiff. He was like really beating up on these guys with some of his slams.
Okay.
So Carlito, stiff as hell, and I'm here for it.
How about what they did to sort of finish this match where Rey Mysterio's watching from the back rather than being out at the ring, even though Bobby Lashley's out at ringside and Rey could be there just for the numbers. And instead, Rey gets jumped backstage by Logan Paul. And for some reason, they're just showing that on the big screen in the arena for no reason whatsoever. And Carlito and Santos Escobar happen to see it. And now Carlito is just, should I go to the back and help Rey? And Santos says, yeah, go to the back and help Rey. And so now Santos Escobar is all on his own, and he just can't do the 1-on-2 for a while. Eventually they hit that, they call it the revelation. It's their double team neck breaker sit out power bomb for the pinfall. It's an 11-minute match. So they let him go. But weird kind of ending. You said you liked Carlito.
Yeah, I liked Carlito. And even as far as the match is concerned, I guess we'll probably get into this at some point. I liked Carlito. Kind of a goofy finish, but something I don't see a lot of, so I'm not horribly mad. I'm like, at least it's a little unique. It wasn't just a run-in. You see so many run-ins.
Yep.
So instead of it just being a run-in or interference, it was like full-blown, oh, I have to leave the match because of this. So the one thing I liked, and I trashed Logan Paul in our last show, and I completely buried him. But I liked, this is the style of getting over as a heel that he can do right now. Like, he punches Rey Mysterio in the back of the head, and then like he's a jerk. And you're like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
simple. Okay, they're gonna build the rivalry because you beat me up in the back and you sucker punched him, so you're definitely a bad guy. He goes to do a promo, or he gets interviewed by someone, and he like takes the mic away from her and starts talking, and then gives it back to her. But he's being real crass and mean with her. And he looks at Kevin Owens and he says, "I don't like your shirt," and then like walks away. Yeah, so he's just
It was a Rey Mysterio shirt, I believe.
Yeah, it's Rey Mysterio. Yo, he said your shirt's lame. Yeah, so your shirt's lame. So this is significantly better than him on the mic. Just doing asshole things, just doing the heel.
He's a bully, and he's got the perfect person to bully. You're beating up the little guy.
Yes. Yeah, he's acting like a bully.
This is the perfect bully role for Logan Paul. One thing I did want to mention, they did a dive in this match. Carlito did the somersault dive over the top rope onto both of the Street Profits. As Carlito is going into this move, he is not a fast man like the other people who do dives.
Okay.
And as he's approaching the ropes to dive, I'm going, oh no, top dollar. And Carlito barely makes it over this rope.
Oh no.
And he barely clears the ring apron as Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins step closer to catch him on the somersault dive. And I'm just, oh my goodness, no, please, no, no, I don't want a top dollar incident here.
If he top dollars it on his first match, he'll be out of the company, you know?
Right, they're done. That's the end of the LWO. Suddenly, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro have something else to do.
Right.
Well, so Carlito, I don't want to see you doing dives, man. You're the muscle of the LWO. You're not a luchador. Be the muscle. That actually makes the group more interesting.
For sure.
It makes them more interesting if they're all just not cookie cutter luchadors. Carlito, be the big guy. Be the heavyweight in the group. Be the muscle. Do that. Do we have people watching us?
We do, and we have a comment. Although this is a little goofy, I'll just show it. Why not?
What do we got?
This is from Twitch. Hello, sorry for bothering you. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, followers, views, chatbots, etc. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Flexible and convenient channel, and the message appears to go on. No, thank you, but continue to watch. Thank you, but no, thank you.
Yes. What do you think of Carlito? Can you offer promotional abilities to Carlito?
Yes. Can you?
Should he be the? I think he should be the muscle. He should embrace the fact that he's not a luchador. I think it makes the LWO better if they're not all cookie cutter luchadors from 30 years ago. I think it's better to have Carlito in the group. Just make him be the muscle. Like, embrace that. Carlito's a tough dude. He's a true heavyweight. He's a tough dude. Let him be that. That's what I say. You tell me if I got it or if I'm not right, or if you want to split the difference somewhere. What say you? What say you, cheapers creepers out there watching Don't Bury the Lead?
Yeah. So I think we can move on from into the next match here.
How about luchadors? Do you want to go to Dragon Lee, the person who Rey Mysterio said was the future of this kind of luchador style?
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Lee beat Cedric Alexander in about 8 very fast-moving minutes. This was in the 9 o'clock hour. I haven't seen either one of these guys wrestle a one-on-one match, I don't think, that was just straight up one-on-one, no interference, no other weird things. I don't know much about them. They seem impressive. They did some mat wrestling, which I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. They did some too contrived-looking choreographed dance moves, which I did not enjoy. But Dragon Lee wins with a 360 inverted DDT for the pinfall. Hey, I like it. He's athletic. They were each doing some real high-impact maneuvers. Cedric Alexander hit the Michinoku driver, which is kind of a sit-out slam for a 2 count. Dragon Lee hit a more conventional sit-out power bomb for a 2 count. Yes, I like what they were doing. They teased early that each of them went for a Hurricane Rana, and the other guy just landed on his feet. Like,
Yeah,
no, that's not gonna work with me. I know your moves inside and out, baby.
I
So decent match. What do you say?
I thought it was a pretty decent match, and I liked it because I hadn't seen a match like this in a while.
Okay.
Um, you know, from my perspective, I hadn't seen a match like this in a while, and I don't need to see it every SmackDown, but I appreciated the change of pace, and I think they did pretty good with it, the two of them.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think it's Cedric Allen was it was like a cruiserweight match from WCW, right?
Yeah, or did they have something like that in the WWE? Was it light heavyweight or something?
Yeah, they actually called it cruiserweights in or 215, I think it was called something like
Okay.
215.
Okay. Yeah, Cedric Alexander and Dragon Lee. I think they both look well. They both look like they could work. They shook hands after the match. So, some good sportsmanship there. So they weren't really playing up that either one of these guys was a decided baby face or a decided heel. It was just, a fun match between a couple of athletic, more of the lighter weight guys, although they're both solidly built. These aren't, skinny little guys. Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, fun match. Not bad.
Not bad.
One more match here, and then a couple of maybe we got at least one other in-ring promo, but one more match. You teased it before. Shotzi versus Chelsea Green.
Oh, that's what
Chelsea
that
Green,
was.
half of the tag team champions, the women's tag team champions. Piper Niven was out there with her tag team partner. Chelsea Green appears very confident, but loses this match in 3 minutes. Is this a good look for your tag champs?
Well, no. Um, I didn't know who she was. I did not realize it was Chelsea Green. Did
Okay.
she dye her hair or something?
She may have. They're doing a little Halloween themed stuff this
Mm.
weekend, I guess, for WWE.
I didn't recognize her or catch her name, so I assumed she was an NXT jobber.
NXT jobber. Okay, so when Chelsea Green is indistinguishable from an NXT jobber, you might have a problem in your tag team division. That's my version of you might be a redneck. If one half of your tag team champions looks like an NXT jobber, you might have a problem in your tag team ranks. Uh, you know, Chelsea can work though. I like some of her stuff here. I mean, she leaps up to the second rope while Shotzi is up there going for setting up a move, and Chelsea does a side Russian leg sweep off the second rope.
Mm.
Well executed move by both wrestlers. I like that. Chelsea does a second turnbuckle missile drop kick, but then she gets real arrogant, plays to the crowd like a heel should, does her lazy cover where she's just lying with her back on Shotzi's chest, not really hooking a leg or anything. And so Shotzi just rolls and pins her shoulders to the mat.
Yeah.
Heels lost as heels do.
Well, Dom, I think that's going to be the WWE Smackdown wrap up here.
You want to say anything about Bianca Belair? They teased a crown jewel match and that she's facing Bayley next Friday, which might be taped this weekend since it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. But Bianca Belair, you mentioned before she went on her hiatus that the crowd seemed to be getting tired of her. The crowd seems to have fallen back in like with her.
Yeah,
She's getting clear babyface reactions now, right? Like the little absence makes the heart grow fonder here for Bianca Belair. Did it work?
this was yet another promo that was on tonight. I do want to mention that. It took up a lot of time.
Took up a lot of time. It seemed there to be no reason. They could have announced the match without doing this, right?
But hey, whatever. They did this. She came out. She talked. She said she's pretty good on the mic. Not amazing, but she can hold her own.
And the crowd's back into her, right?
Yeah, crowd felt like the crowd was into her. They were responding to what she was saying, so that's a great sign.
Mm-hmm. And as a babyface, so she's back to being a babyface, not someone who is slipping into tweener territory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we like that. So that's the show. I don't think we missed anything. I think we got to everything just about in the order that it should have been gotten to. Is it drive time here?
You better believe it.
I gotta stretch my thumbs here. I gotta get ready for the thumb drive. It's time for you and I to distill this entire 2-hour SmackDown into a simple binary. There are no star ratings. There is no sliding scale. There are no letter grades or number grades. This is a simple pass fail, thumbs up or thumbs down for SmackDown.
I got some
My
news
friend,
for you.
I am ready when you are. How do you want to do this?
We ain't Dave Meltzer, all right? Like we're going thumbs up or thumbs down. So I'll put my thumb. Yeah, you got your right one out.
I'm ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh,
I did like it.
You 2 thumbs up
Two thumbs up.
after last week's debacle, our first ever 2 thumbs down. Dom, what you like about this show?
It's kind of it's not a strong thumbs up for me. It's an okay thumbs up for me. LA Knight saved it. We got LA Knight. We got LA Knight as the wonderful bread in this cheesesteak here. So that LA Knight was a wonderful Italian roll for our cheesesteak here. LA Knight at the beginning with the Bloodline, LA Knight at the end in a wrestling match with the Bloodline. He's interacting well with Roman Reigns. I think it's a good look. I think they're building well to the pay-per-view. We got a good main event match. We got an opening segment that was a lot of talk, but was different and didn't seem as long as it actually was. It was fun. It was engaging. In the middle, we got to see some decent in-ring work. Other stuff ran a little long. Not a perfect show, but better than even for me. You know, it's pass fail.
Here's
It's
what
not C. It's not C plus. It's pass fail.
mm-hmm.
Shout out to above average Mike Sanders. It's not. We're not going. No, it's a C plus or it's an A. You just get a thumb up.
I'll tell you what. For me, last week I had given a thumbs down, and a lot of that was about Logan Paul and his horrible promo. And I had all these different things to say about it. He started well, then he started getting the what chance, and I had all this feedback. And it's almost like they literally listened to our feedback because you saw Logan Paul in the back. He punched Rey Mysterio. He messed a little bit with the microphone girl, and then he left. And then you're like, yeah, that's what I wanted you to do. You don't have to go out and do a monologue, a 15-minute monologue about how you're going to beat Rey Mysterio. He's not there yet. He doesn't have that, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, he was always talking about who he's boxing, all this nonsense. No, you're in the WWE, you're wrestling Rey Mysterio. That's all really is to it. You know, he was a jerk to Kevin Owens, too. So that alone just shows improvement on how they're kind of positioning these things. And then who gets the long promo? John Cena and Paul Heyman. Because guess what? I want to see those guys talk for 10, 15 minutes. I don't want to see LA Knight talk for 10, 15 minutes. You know, or it's not LA Knight, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, yeah.
Yeah. And all the stuff with I thought this was a good go home show. And I feel like, you know, not to harp too much on the last week's show, but last week we could have just got some good matches and that would have been a thumbs up. But they didn't, so we give them a thumbs down. But 2 thumbs up tonight from us. Cheers. Congratulations, Triple H, Vince McMahon, TKO. You put a good one on together.
Heading into what is a very lucrative pay-per-view premium live event for the WWE. But we'll see what it does. They've teased that there's a lot of championship matches on that card. And of course, we'll be covering Crown Jewel next weekend. So I'm still going to watch SmackDown, but we're going to live stream after Saturday late afternoon, early evening after Crown Jewel. So we're looking forward to that pay-per-view. Considering this does really become the go-home show for that premium live event, because there's not a heck of a lot they're going to do Friday night with what's basically a taped show, unless they're going to go live from Saudi Arabia with SmackDown. Considering that this does become sort of the go-home SmackDown, did they do what they had to do?
Oh, yeah. They almost did a little bit too much because they did two things last week when all I needed was Logan Paul to punch Rey Mysterio.
Right. From behind.
And then be like, yeah, I'm going to kick your ass at Crown Jewel. Whatever.
I'm going to take the title from you. There we go. Yeah. Very good. I liked it too. It's getting cheap in here.
No, I can feel it. The weather outside.
You can feel it. It's getting cheap in here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's because we're heading into the next segment here.
It's Cheap Heat. Mm-hmm. And of course, we do Cheap Heat like we do the rest of the show. Don't bury the lead. Our top story in Cheap Heat, John, on Wednesday night, AEW was here in Philadelphia. And you know who else was in Philadelphia?
Who?
You! Tell us about AEW Dynamite. What was it like being in the crowd? What kind of seats did you have? You know, what do you say for the live experience of being in AEW? What was your favorite stuff about the show? You know, give us whatever breakdown you want. I want to hear about this.
High-level overview. First of all, fantastic venue to go to. The Liacouras Center, and that's on Broad Street in Philadelphia. And the Liacouras Center is like a smaller version of the Wachovia Center. And the Liacouras Center is, of course, Temple University's. They play Temple basketball there. And so we went there for the show. I live in Collingswood. To get to the Liacouras Center took me about 17 minutes. Found parking right away. It's a breeze, way easier than going to further south and dealing with all the parking in that part of the city. So went into the show, had the tickets, got really good seats. I wonder if I should bring that up. Should I bring up the seat?
Bring up the seats if you want. You took some, firsthand reporting. Don't bury the lead on the spot. Firsthand reporting that we did post to the channel. If you're watching our live stream now, especially if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook, we live stream once a week. But we also have our archive of edited clips and other fun stuff at the YouTube channel. We're not really able to store stuff on the other platforms. You can watch us live there. If you are, thank you. But head on over to YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe, and you can see our other content, which includes firsthand video taken by you from the AEW Dynamite show this Wednesday. Good crowd. I mean, this was kind of an intimate arena. This was not the big arena where the Flyers and the 76ers play. This was where the college basketball team in the city plays. So
yeah,
good crowd, good size, intimate, appropriate size for the venue, and enough energy.
So this is the picture here. You can see I highlighted around where we're at.
There you are.
Here's my wife. Here's Steve. Let's see if I can zoom this bad boy. Oh no, that's not going to do it. No, that's okay. It won't let me.
We see the highlight, and we can see the ring right in front of you. You guys are on the hard. Is that the hard camera side there that you guys are sitting?
Yep, that's me. And there's Rob Van Dam and Taz's son Hook.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what. The seats were awesome. The venue was pretty full. I know people like to take pictures on the internet. I don't know if you've seen this about empty stadiums. It certainly wasn't empty. People were there. And ultimately, it was a ton of fun. MJF came in as an opener. The rest of the real match. He beat the hell out of this guy and then moved on. Right into that, we had what's his name? Oh, Rob Van Dam and not Taz, Hook. Rob Van Dam and Hook. They wrestled these two guys. They're just basically glorified jobbers. So they wrestled these two glorified jobbers. They got a win. Van Dam looked good. Sting comes out. He comes out to a cheers, and people are going crazy for him because he's retiring next. Did you hear about this?
We did. We covered a little bit of it. That Sting will be retiring. Is it Revolution 2024?
Yeah,
Is that the premium live event that they have not given? Did they give us a date for that at the AEW Dynamite?
it should
Or are
be
they
the
still
first
pending?
quarter of 2024.
First quarter, but they haven't settled on an exact date. Okay.
Yeah, and so anyways, uh, Sting comes out. Tony Schiavone's talking to him. He's like, we want to give you a present, or Tony wants to give you a present, and the present is Ric Flair.
Ric
So
Flair.
Ric Flair, and there's a video of that on our channel. Ric Flair comes down. Everyone's freaking out. It's Ric Flair. He's a god. Christian Cage grabs the mic, and he's like, starts yelling about Ric Flair, and said he wished he was dead 20 years earlier. It would have been better for everybody. He said, I can't believe this billionaire Tony gave this weekend at Bernie's guy to
wow. Oh my goodness.
Weekend at Bernie's. And then he also said, he look at him. He's got why would you give him this to him? He's got a black liver. Taking a shot at it. It's alcohol abuse. Yeah, he was going in. And then at the very end of it, he hits the TNT title, and he's like, I had this title, and none of you fans will ever know what that's like because the Phillies will never win a championship. And the crowd was booing him, but he was on fire. Later into the match, we saw Daniel Bryan, Cesaro team up against Orange Cassidy. And do you know who Okada is?
I've heard his name before. Japanese wrestler. Does he kind of wrestle that Japanese style? Is he more of a strong style wrestler?
Yeah,
high flyer. What does he do?
He's strong style Japanese
wrestler.
So he's really Dave Meltzer has given him 7-star matches. He and Kenny Omega. So yeah, it breaks his. So he came. Everyone knew who he was, and he got one of the biggest pops of the night. Okada. So it was cool to have Okada, and then Daniel Bryanson, who's probably the best technical wrestler in the world right now, at least in the U.S. Having him link up with him. So
is he back from his injury problem? Bryan Danielson looks like he's fully healthy now, or at least close enough. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's jamming. Yeah. So, anyways, great show, excellent vibe. Easy to get there. I highly recommend AEW Dynamite. And I'll be doing
good.
I'll be doing a vlog about it too. So
very good. So look for that on our channel. Excellent stuff. I've got something up on the shared screen now. You mentioned MJF coming out. They're trying to come up with something for MJF to do while Adam Cole is rehabbing this injury, because this MJF Adam Cole bromance of sorts was hot. This was a good program for them, and do you get the sense that they want to return to this if and when Adam Cole can recover from his injury, broken ankle?
Yes.
Do you want to see that?
Well, it depends how long the injury is, right? Like, can we move on from it or what?
If they move on and give MJF some other stuff to do, and it turns out this injury takes longer to heal, does that set up Adam Cole for a real big surprise return later? Because at this point, it looks like, Adam Cole is still in the news. It's like they're trying to say, oh, this won't be long. This won't be long. But, I mean, this is a broken ankle. This could be long. Are they perhaps, pun intended, shooting themselves in the ankle here by not just letting Adam Cole go away in rehab, and instead trying to just keep teasing him that he's still involved, even though he's got a broken ankle?
If he doesn't come back soon, then I would agree. He should just go away for a little bit, and it never hurts anyone to go away. And when he does go away, then he comes back. People are going to freak out. But maybe they're keeping him around because they don't think it's going to be that long, or they want him to continue to be on the show and create storylines, which I don't know what you're supposed to do with that.
Okay. I mean, we just saw in the WWE Elton Strong. do we have to do like Bebe Strong here for Adam Cole? Do we need to start getting something trending here? Although Adam Cole could legitimately be in a wheelchair.
Right.
Elton Strong hurt his shoulder and was in a wheelchair. Should Adam Cole walk around with a sling, with his arm in a sling, because of his broken ankle?
What do you think of this? Should they? Should he be?
You're now selling my joke. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Okay, I sprung that on you. I got to get better at calling the match as we go, calling the spots as we go in the match. But yeah. So where were you? You were going somewhere legitimate, and I was going for a corny joke. Where were you going?
I was headed to. What do you think? Do you think it's a bad idea to kind of drag this out and have him be injured and they're doing storyline stuff still, or should he just go away?
I think he should go away. And I'm not an AEW watcher, but just knowing that MJF is so talented on his own, and that this whole bromance was just kind of an accident because the crowd took to it. I think this is just okay. Send MJF back to doing what he would have been doing if this bromance angle hadn't started, and then it just sets up Adam Cole if and when he's really healthy. Because the last time he was hurt, he was out for a long time, wasn't he? It was the better part of a year.
Yeah.
So if he's out again for a long time, now you're not leaving the angle in limbo. You're just saying, look, MJF's got other stuff to do, and then what a pop it would be if you haven't seen Adam Cole for 4 months and suddenly he comes in for a big save or something. So I don't think limbo storylines work. It's like if you book too many wrestlers to be tweeners. It looks like they're booking this angle to be a tweener. I don't get it. But I'm just a commentator, not a creative, not a booker, not a match agent, none of that cool stuff. I simply watch and I commentate. That is all.
That is all.
So that's Adam Cole there. Hey, how about movies?
Oh, this is.
Did you know that John Cena's an actor?
Yes, I did.
John Cena's an actor. He's in a movie called Freelance. They had a big sort of a opening for it, screening right before the opening this week. And there were a lot of WWE stars in attendance down there. Apparently this happens in Florida. LA Knight's there. Alexa Bliss is there. Not much of an article because what more can you say about all these people showing up for Freelance? Some neat pictures, though. This is
Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze. And they said something like Breezango. I don't know what that means. Suffering succotash. Here's Alexa Bliss and her husband. I'm not sure. He seems like some sort of wrestler.
No, her husband is a singer. Pretty famous years ago. I forget. I'll have to look him up. You might recognize his name. Let me see if I can get it up.
Okay. Let's see here. They haven't mentioned it yet. Hey, there's our guys, Top Dollar and Ashante the Adonis, and someone else who is not part of Hit Row. But yeah, good to see them back there.
Wow. So that's crazy. People that are just fired go.
Right. Well, hey, it's a movie. They haven't been fired from being movie fans.
Yeah.
Right?
Top Dollar's in there. Yeah.
I'm not sure who these are. This is Madcap Moss and Emma, who don't have a lot of going on here. Now, they kind of gave their name here. Mike Rallis and Tennille Dashwood. Okay, let's see who these people were. Brooke Vaughter, formerly Brooklyn Barlow, and Zia Brookside. Maybe they were. Let's see who these guys are. I don't know who that guy is. But this here was Alexa Bliss, and they don't tell us. Say it again.
Ryan Cabrera.
Ryan Cabrera. Okay, I have heard him. Here's more of the crew there. Top Dollar again. You can't miss AJ Francis, right?
Wait, you know who that is, too? Scroll up. It's Top Dollar. On the left there, that is Mick Foley's daughter.
Okay, Noelle Foley. Okay, Steph DeLander, Harley Cameron, and then AJ Francis, football player, Top Dollar in the WWE. So a lot of people were having fun here. This was fun, yes. And they do mention here, LA Knight was there, Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera, all sorts of other people having fun at a movie there. So just in case you thought John Cena was a wrestler, it turns out he's a movie star. He's got a movie out, Freelance. So that's just some fun to see another side of a lot of the WWE stars just hanging out with a friend of theirs from the business, going to the movies. We really liked what happened earlier this year with WWE Premium Live Events, didn't we? They go to Montreal for Elimination Chamber. Then WrestleMania is in LA. But then they go to Puerto Rico for Backlash. And then they go to, what was it, London for Money in the Bank?
Mm-hmm.
We saw 3 out of 4. And then they had a Saudi Arabia thing in there as well. We saw several foreign territory outside of the U.S., outside of continental U.S. premium live events, and the crowds were fantastic. We like that. Apparently, they're looking to do Bash in Berlin sometime. They don't know when. It's going to be a first ever premium live event in Germany. Currently rocking the moniker Bash in Berlin. Be hosted in the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Berlin on August 31st, 2024. So right after SummerSlam, that next pay-per-view that this year was Fastlane, instead will be in Berlin. They've also mentioned going to Elimination Chamber will be in Perth, Australia. So they're going to more territories outside of the mainland U.S. and even outside of the continents across the world. They're getting hot crowds. It's worth the travel, right?
Yeah, I kind of knew the Dominican Republic was going to be hot because they have wrestling there, and it's a lot of blood and guts, if you will, wrestling. I know they do like a lot of hardcore stuff there, and they do a lot of brawling wrestling there, and a lot of tough guys, all that stuff. So I know they have wrestling in Puerto Rico. Curious to see what the turnout is in specifically Perth, you said?
Perth, Australia. Australia is not a very well-populated and densely populated country, but their population is concentrated along the coast in the cities. So, but still, I mean, maybe because this is maybe their first time with a big premium live event in Australia, they'll get people making plans to visit from Sydney, from Melbourne, from other parts of the country to head over to Perth. But yeah, so they're making plans to visit in person more of their worldwide fans.
And you know what? There is a big advantage for the WWE when they make these deals. Oftentimes, they work with the tourism committee at those countries, and the tourism committee will pay them just to come. So they make that on top of being, exposed to different parts of the world. On top of the exposure, countries pay them money to come. So
Puerto Rico did that. I imagine Australia may have to do that as well. I don't know if they got that from any of the other countries they went to, but yeah, at least Puerto Rico and maybe Australia may have to step up because that's going to be a lot of travel, a lot of miles, a lot of expense to have to get everybody over there.
I don't think that I know the UK when they did their UK show. That was before we watched. When they did the UK show, the UK had to pay. I don't think
that was Clash at the Castle last year, right?
Yeah,
right before we started watching.
And I don't think that like Canada would have to pay. I think they're pretty much just like any other city in the U.S.
I mean, it's closer to WWE headquarters than most parts of the U.S. are.
Right.
To just go up to Montreal, right? So very good. Now the other signal for this is they're going to Germany. Does that mean that Gunther is going to have a huge push over the next 10 months so that maybe he is going to headline this event in Berlin? Would you like to see Gunther get a real A-lister push?
Yeah. I mean,
me too. Yeah.
He's been our favorite. Well, we got LA Knight. He's one of our favorites, but we also have LA Knight and we have Gunther. Those are our two guys.
We like them, and Gunther can work. Gunther's maybe the best worker in the company.
And just real quick here, I see some people here on the chat. Feel free to write anything you want as we're talking about Gunther here. Well, let us know what you think on Facebook there.
Absolutely.
But, moving on here, I would be stoked to see Gunther a little bit more. Hopefully he gets on the SmackDown so I can watch him more.
Right. He's been over on Raw, and they haven't always given him pay-per-view title defenses for the Intercontinental title. So we we need our Gunther fix. We want to watch him. He's fantastic in the ring, and he's gotten better as a character, which we thought he had in him, and he has proven to have that. So yeah, if Gunther gets a real main event push, maybe even for the top belt in the company, I'm all for it. I think he has that kind of character where he could be that guy. I think he'd be fantastic at it. Speaking of another person who could be a top player in their division, more praise for Jade Cargill. We talked about how some of the AEW colleagues of hers were really cheering for her when she made the move, like they weren't bitter or jealous or anything. Like Kenny Omega had some great things to say about her on Jade Cargill's way out the door. Well, as she's coming into the WWE, she's getting a lot of praise. The WWE women's division, their top stars like seeing her. Raquel Rodriguez is the latest person to just go on the record in an interview and say she's glad that Jade Cargill is here. The WWE women's division is very strong. We've mentioned this before, but they're also very confident and they want to see more people in it. So, I mean, you know your division is really, really good when your top stars are welcoming, at least publicly, welcoming in other top stars. What do you think of this? I mean, Jade Cargill, she may have been at NXT this past Tuesday during the Becky Lynch title defense against, I think it was Valkyrie, where Valkyrie beat her. But yeah, Valkyrie beat Becky Lynch, and apparently Jade Cargill was in attendance at that.
Yeah.
But they haven't decided what to do with Jade Cargill yet, but it looks like people are open to her being wherever they slot her. What do you think of how they're playing Jade Cargill so far? Just making her do these little appearances, but not actually getting her into a ring yet or into a program.
Well, I'll tell you what. Gotta start getting her to do something. I know they're really slow building her, but she's a big free agent splash, right? So I know they're taking their time, but I'd like to see her start to wrestle.
I would too.
I'm curious what direction they're going to head with her. At first I couldn't believe I wouldn't have believed that they would push her down to NXT, but there is a certain need to get that brand going as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see her starting out in NXT now because she's showing up at NXT. So interesting move by her because she was pretty high up in AEW. Now she's kind of starting at the bottom of the rung here in NXT.
She knew that though, right? I mean, she knew coming to WWE, she was going to have to learn how to be a pro wrestler and train with the WWE trainers and their coaches and really learn how to do this. But you know, I think so. We've both been high on the WWE women's division. It's fantastic. There's Raquel Rodriguez on screen there. She's going to be involved in the Fatal 5-Way at Crown Jewel. So there's a lot going on here. Rhea Ripley, of course, Shayna Baszler's in that. Zoe Stark is in that. The returning Nia Jax is in there.
Oh,
so
wow.
Loaded WWE Fatal 5-Way women's title match there for Rhea Ripley's title. Meanwhile, it looks like Bianca Belair will have a shot at Io Sky at Crown Jewel. So both women's singles title will be on the line at Crown Jewel, it looks like. Lots of gold. Good go-home show. Maybe a good go-home cheap heat here as well. Do you have anything else you wanted to add? Any other cheap heat that you saw?
No. I think that's it for me. And I think that's it for cheap heat. And I talked about it earlier. I went to the AEW show in Philadelphia. And let me tell you something was pretty good. Got a lot of videos. So those will be posted throughout the week. I just posted tonight RVD's entrance music.
Okay.
I'm going to post an MJF entrance. Tony Khan had some words to the people after the show, and I will post that as well.
Words for people after the show. Okay, you did post to Tony Khan something before. Maybe he was warming up the audience?
Yeah, he gets them going. And I'll have to give him credit where credit's due. When he first started doing it, he was a little bit more skittish and a little boring. But he's really improved on the mic.
Okay.
In that role. There's elements of Tony Khan to me that reminds me a lot of Vince McMahon. And I say that because, he was really straight laced when he first started. He had like a nice haircut, glasses. Everyone seemed to like him. He was sharply dressed. He was really kind of boring, got like a regular guy, just like Vince when he was an announcer, right? Like he had a pretty straight persona, right? He wasn't even the crazy color guy. He was just a boring announcer. Uh, and then suddenly he starts to transform, right?
Mhm.
You get Vince, crazy Vince, once he's starting to go out there. And Tony's kind of leaning into the crazy Tony. His hair's all over the place. He's saying the F word before the show to fire the crowd up. He's tweeting crazy stuff. He's becoming confrontational with the WWE in ways that we talked about already. He probably doesn't need to do, but yeah, I do see some sort of a parallel.
Is this the end of Tony and the beginning of Mr. Khan?
Yeah.
To just take the parallel there. Do you want to see Tony Khan become an on-screen character? This is one thing to warm up the crowd before the TV cameras roll. Do you want to see Tony Khan as an on-screen character, as an authority figure or something in his own promotion? Or is that just too played out at this point?
At some point, I wouldn't mind it. We do have a comment.
Okay.
I'll hit show.
Is this a better price than the last commenter was offering?
New video posted when SmackDown goes off the video.
Okay, was there maybe a dark match when after SmackDown went off the air tonight? Was someone in the arena there and capturing it? Because WWE does post some of those even on their own channels. They'll do dark matches before SmackDown or Raw, and maybe they do something that happened after SmackDown or Raw. So we may have to check in on that. The way SmackDown went off the air tonight, did it seem like it went off the air on time and with the right stuff? I thought they got in everything they needed to, and I thought the way it went off the air was pretty cool.
And hey, Cody, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it. We recap SmackDown every Friday night. Thanks for your comment. It's a great call. Maybe we'll check that out later. But what did you think of the show? Let us know. What did you watch it? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Feel free to chime in there.
I thought tonight's show went off the air really as well as it could have.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Roman attempting the ambush again, but this time he missed it. It's that heel face dynamic. If you're the heel, the first time you hit it, the second time you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the baby face, the first time you miss it, the second time you hit it.
Right.
And so Roman goes for the ambush again. This time it doesn't work. And LA Knight gets the upper hand going into pay-per-view, which means it is almost 1,000% assured that LA Knight will lose badly at this pay-per-view because the babyface is hot going into it.
I know, it's the same thing. I thought the same thing. All right, well, we're hitting the Italian goodbye here. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent about Vince McMahon and Tony Khan.
That's good stuff. I like that.
I see the parallels of them. And yeah, so we're going to keep having videos from our end, from the Cheap Heat, that from AEW, but I'm probably only going to put one more out there and then maybe a couple shorts from it. But primarily,
how about a vlog? You promised us you teased a vlog earlier today. We're doing an AEW trip to AEW vlog.
I will be doing a vlog, and Dom, you will be featured in this vlog.
I will be in that vlog. Oh, whenever you go to a pro wrestling show, I am with you in spirit, right?
Can you? Oh, maybe we'll do it while we're live. Why not? Can you give me like don't bury the lead, subscribe. Give me like a little 5-seconder.
Give you a 5-second. Hey, don't bury the lead. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We go live every week, and there's a wonderful archive of clips, shorts, special videos, and even our full streams. Check us out on YouTube. Don't bury the lead.
Yes, perfect. That is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. That will be thrown in the middle of the video.
All right. Hey, there we go.
One take Charlie out here, man. One take, and you got it. I barely explained it. You're like, no, I got it. I've shot it. I know where you're headed.
Bullet points. Just give me bullet points. I don't need the script. I just need bullet points. My name is Paul Heyman.
Alrighty, so interesting.
Hey, this was a fun show. We like it. We'll see everybody next weekend on Saturday, not Friday. We will have watched SmackDown just in case anything interesting and pertinent happens. But the big recap next week will be of the premium live event Saturday afternoon for us here, U.S. viewers. 1 p.m. here on the East Coast. Start time. I like it. It's like a football game on a Saturday afternoon.
Yep, it's perfect. All right, Dom. Well, thanks so much for joining. Those of you that are watching, thanks so much for joining. My name's John Zindel. This is Dom Scarcella. We're here every Friday night, typically, but Saturdays we will be. This Saturday we'll be watching the pay-per-view. So thanks so much. Appreciate you joining, and have a great rest of your evening.